Live from Sin City, it's the Socks and Pinstripes Podcast. And now, here's the star of the show, Diet Dr. Griffin!
This is Diet Dr. Griffin back with another episode of the Socks and Pinstripes Podcast. Like, rate, and subscribe. Today, we are going to be starting our series of divisions where we're going to be covering each of the divisions. We're going to do two at a time. So this week, we're going to be doing the Central divisions in the National League and the American League. Shane's with us today, and we're going to start with some actually stuff in the AL East because the Red Sox and Yankees have been making some news this week. Rafi Devers, have you hear his comments about not wanting to be a DH?
No, please do tell. I've been waiting for you to tell me specifically on the show. So
Rafi got asked earlier this week about being willing to play DH now that they brought in Alex Bregman, and he basically gave him the Dominican version of the Liam Neeson no. Basically, no. And, it's creating a bit of drama around the team because you got guys like Tristan Casas trying to support his boys, and Bregman's like, here, can't we all just get along? I'll play wherever I'm needed,
Yeah.
Even though I'm the Gold Glover at third base and I should be playing third base over Rafi, who is arguably the worst defender in baseball at his position.
Arguably, I don't even know if you have to argue that anymore, honestly.
Well, I mean, he's led the league in errors at third base for 7 straight seasons. He has only played 7 full seasons at the majors. If he had played the 8th season, he probably would have led that league as well, but he didn't get called up until June as a rookie and still managed to have 14 errors at third base that year. He's currently 6th among all the active players at errors, and all of those players who have more errors than him have also played for a minimum of 3 to 5 seasons more. Manny Machado has 1 more error than him and has played in 5 more seasons.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So saying that Rafi is a bad defender isn't offensive to anybody.
No.
I know Bregman had 12 errors last year, but Bregman also won the Gold Glove at third base last year.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. Rafi signed a 10-year extension. So he back in, I believe, in 2023.
Yeah, this is what I don't understand. Like, he's got his money. So
he's got his money, and he doesn't have to worry about getting a contract. Like, look at Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Because Vladdy was originally a third baseman when he came up.
Yeah.
And I think he played a little bit of third base last year, but he switched to first base when Matt Chapman came in. And Matt Chapman, of course, is a much better defensive player than Vladdy. And actually, I think Vladdy was a first baseman even before they brought Chapman in. Now that I think about it. Yeah. But Vladdy wants to get more money, and he's probably more likely to get more money as a third baseman than as a first baseman. Because if you look at the first baseman contracts lately, I mean, Pete Alonso didn't get a whole heck of a lot of money.
No.
Christian Walker didn't get a whole heck of a lot of money. Even Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman got less than he wanted. And Freddie Freeman was like better than both of those guys as an all-around player.
Yeah, Freddie Freeman's probably one of the most athletic first basemen in the league, because I feel like a lot of times at first base, some teams will just be like, oh, we got this player who plays in the infield who is like not that great anymore. We'll just stick him at first. So
yeah, I mean, Bryce Harper has his contract, but he got his contract as an outfielder and basically winning an MVP.
Oh yeah, I forget Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper and Freddie Freeman are probably the 2 most athletic.
Yeah, but I mean, Bryce Harper didn't become a first baseman until he got Tommy John surgery, so it was kind of one of those things that just happened later. But Matt Olson is another guy who got a similar contract to what Freddie Freeman got.
Yeah.
In the $150, $160 million range.
Yeah.
And Vladimir Guerrero is trying to get his contract next year, even though he's been predominantly a first baseman the past 2 years.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Mariners, we need a first base. Oh, wait, hold on. I forgot. We got Rowdy Tellez now, so, I guess we don't
Yeah.
need Vladimir Guerrero anymore. So,
Well, you guys turned down a deal where I believe the Red Sox were going to give up. The Red Sox were going to give you guys Masataka Yoshida and Tristan Casas, and Casas is supposed to be our first baseman that is drawing comparisons to Freddie Freeman, and when he
yeah.
was a prospect for Luis Castillo.
Oh, that sounds like an actual really good trade.
Yeah, except that they didn't want to pay much of Yoshida's contract, so that deal didn't happen.
Oh, of course.
Even though I think
Well, of course, it
Yoshida.
comes down to money that they have but don't want to spend. So,
Well, the thing is, I think Yoshida and Casas make a combined like 5 million less than what you guys are paying Castillo. So I don't really
it
understand.
doesn't have to, it's the Mariners. It doesn't have to make
I know it
sense.
doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Yeah, yeah. Rafi, just suck it up and play first base, dude. I mean, I don't understand why you can't at least try to play first base.
Yeah. You'll probably extend your career a lot longer over
Yeah,
there,
and,
too.
and here
So,
and here's the thing, like if Barry Bonds had the DH option when he was playing at the tail end of his career, you don't think they would have put Barry Bonds at the DH in 2 seconds? You don't think Barry would have volunteered to be a DH
yeah.
considering how
Barry
shot his
Bonds would have
knees were?
Barry Bonds would have put himself as the DH.
You think anybody would think less of Rafi as a player if he was a DH? He's helping his team out more by not putting himself in the field as the defensive liability.
Yeah, yeah,
It just doesn't make sense. And with the way that the Red Sox prospects are lined up, you got this kid Campbell who's going to be our second baseman going forward. Marcelo Mayer is going to need a place to play soon. He's can only stay down in the minors for so much longer, and he's like a third base type shortstop type guy. And with
okay.
Trevor Story's still locked up for another 3 years, they're not going to really move Story off a shortstop.
Yeah,
He's still a pretty good defender. So Rafi was gonna have to move off of third base at some point anyway, and everybody knew that except for him.
yeah. Apparently,
And the Red Sox were generous enough to give him a contract based on his third base positioning versus, what he actually was going to end up probably having to be first baseman or a DH.
yeah,
So just suck it up and move on and help the team out because you really have no leverage, dude.
yeah,
I mean, Nolan Arenado can't get traded anywhere.
yeah. And
Although he did
plus the
have the
team
offer
was
to Houston, but he didn't want to go there.
well, and plus the team did him a super solid. It's not like the M's this year who were like, Polanco, we don't want you. I guess we'll take you back. And also, well, we won't trade any of our starting pitching. Luis Castillo's on the trading block, though. It didn't work out. So I guess Castillo, you can show up for training camp.
Well, speaking of Luis Castillo, there apparently has been a story going out there that Luis Castillo once said that he would not trade his no trade clause to the Yankees because of their facial hair policy. As we all
He's got that
know, the
little goatee.
Yankees have historically had this policy where you can't have facial hair besides like a mustache and a
Yeah.
tightly groomed mustache at that. But
hmm
this week, they have officially waived that policy.
Yeah. And you know why? Because
I suspect it's because they think they're going to lose out on players.
No, because Steinbrenner saw JD Vance with the well-groomed beard and was like, even the vice president has a beard.
Okay. Well, Brian Cashman said, as he was trying to tell the team this, he says, "We're not trying to look like Duck Dynasty. No diss against Duck Dynasty. You're grinding in the woods all the time. You don't really have another option." Did you know that Duck Dynasty has been off the air for 8 years?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there doesn't have to. That's another one that doesn't make sense. So,
And of course, Ryan Cashmere, of course, would make a reference to a show that's 8 years off the air
yeah,
as an example for the beard.
probably because he was just watching it yesterday. So,
Yeah, and he does not have a beard, mind you. He's a mostly clean shaven fellow.
yeah,
So Taylor, of course, is very upset, calling Hal a sellout. And she sent me this little exchange between Lou Piniella, who played for the Yankees, former Mariners manager, of course.
yep,
And This is what he said. Pinella said, Jesus Christ had long hair and a beard, Pinella told Steinbrenner. Why can't we have beards and long hair? The Yankees owner showed him a small pond beyond the outfield fence. You see that pond? Steinbrenner asked. Walk across that pond and you can have a beard and long hair.
That's a pretty good response, honestly.
That's our boy George Steinbrenner, who I miss terribly as an owner in this sport because for all of his misgivings, he made this thing a whole lot more interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he was doing the stuff the Dodgers are doing now, except he had a personality. Well, actually, he would. George Steinbrenner wouldn't defer money.
Yeah, he just
He's a
paid it all up
man.
front. Yeah.
He's a man. And speaking of men, Aaron Boone got extended for another 2 seasons, so he'll be the Yankees skipper likely through the 2027 season.
Oh, that's good. We get to see him get ejected a couple more times.
Hopefully, a couple hundred more times.
Yeah. Hopefully over balls and strikes for Alex Verdugo.
Well, Alex Verdugo hasn't signed, and
Oh, okay. Oh, so maybe no, not Verdugo.
you know what's interesting about this whole he was one of the poster childs for why the Yankees probably should have gotten rid of the shaved beard policy earlier because he had a beard and then you see him clean shave and it's like maybe we should have let him have the beard again.
Yeah, because he looks young too. He's got a baby face.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see. It's interesting how they did this because they waited until like after everybody had to show up for spring training and shave their beards for them to say, "Oh, we don't have to do that anymore."
Yeah,
So all
I
their
hope they
players are basically clean shaven now, and they can't just grow their beards that quickly. It's gonna take some time for them to get all Charlie Blackman around here.
Yeah, I hope they all grow beards too.
Here's a question: what players do you think are gonna start taking advantage of this policy on the Yankees? Because Aaron Judge has said he will not.
Yeah, he's whatever.
I think Carlos Rodon is one.
Oh,
Rodon had a pretty nice beard when he was with the White Sox and particularly with the San Francisco Giants.
I think Giancarlo Stanton. I'd love to see him with a beard.
Oh, Stanton. I don't know when we're going to see Stanton. Have you heard about his elbow issues? He apparently has tennis elbow on both of his elbows and is in a lot of pain right now.
How's that even possible?
I don't know. We need Stanton healthy for the playoffs because he's like the one person
I
you can
hope
really root for
I
on
hope
the
that
team.
Garrett Cole grows like a Abraham Lincoln beard and just keeps it like super nice and neat.
Yeah, he used to rock a beard. I think back when he was with the Pirates, he did. Although he's been pretty clean shaven for a while now. I think even back to his Houston days.
Yeah, he's got no mustache, no beard.
Yeah, I mean,
He
looks
looks like
okay
he
with that.
shaves every day. There's never it looks like he must shave like right before the game. He never has a 5 o'clock shadow at all.
Yeah, Devin Williams was a guy who had a pretty famous beard back in Milwaukee, so I'm sure he'll probably grow something as well.
Nestor Cortez will probably grow something.
Well, he can
just to
now that he's
protest
in
the-
he can now that he's in Milwaukee. Although
yeah,
Aaron
that's
Boone
right.
probably still thinks that Cortez is there.
Yeah, I thought he was still there. So
Yeah, he was the guy he was one of the trade pieces to get Devin Williams.
no, okay, gotcha. All right.
So speaking of Nestor Cortez, that's about as good of a transition as we're going to get here. Let's talk about the NL Central.
Yay.
Ooh, one of the more wild divisions out there. How do you think this is going to break down, Shane, this year?
Man, dude, Cubs #1. I think the only reason why the Pirates won't be last is because they have Paul Skeens, and I think the Reds are going to be in last place again.
Really? You think the Reds are that bad?
I mean, comparatively, I don't see the Birds, really dropping down there, and I don't see the Brewers dropping down there, and I think the Cubs are going to do really well this year.
Okay, so you got the Cubs, and then who do you have after that?
I got Cubs, Brewers, Birds, Pirates, Reds.
Okay, Cards, Pirates. Okay,
are you Excel spreadsheeting this so we can look at it?
Yes, I am. I am documenting this so that we can be accountable.
Griffin.
I
knew I
have
could count on you.
I have the Brewers. I totally underestimated the Brewers last year,
Yeah.
and I had the Brewers ahead. I think this is going to be a very close division, though. I mean, I could see it coming down to like 1 or 2 games in September,
Yeah.
honestly.
Same. Yeah.
I think the Cubs are right behind them. I think they've done a significant amount of work to get their club better, even and they haven't done it in like a lot of long-term ways. They got a lot of short-term pieces like Kyle Tucker and Presley to round
Yeah.
out the bullpen.
Yeah.
Uh, I think the Reds are going to be in third, and the only
Really?
I just Tito Francona. I think Tito has a way of just getting the younger guys on the team to start playing up to snuff. Like that I think that's what the Reds needed.
Okay.
And that's my thinking about it. They haven't done a
Yeah.
whole lot of
Ellie's not going to challenge Devers for Air King this year.
well, I mean, it's possible at shortstop, but they just have so much talent there, and I think a guy like Terry Francona can kind of come and bring it together. And Tito didn't come out of retirement to be like on a losing club. He came out to
That's
try to win.
that's yeah. You're very right about that. Yeah.
I have the Cardinals fourth, and I think there's a little more collective talent on the Cardinals than on the Pirates. I know the Pirates
Okay.
have a good pitching rotation,
Yeah.
but outside of Skeens, and Jones, like I'm
Yeah.
very skeptical of what they've done. They have not made
Yeah.
any efforts to try to be competitive in terms of the free agent stuff they bring in.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping when we play them, and by we, I mean the M's play them this year, that it'll be his turn in the rotation because I'd love to go watch him pitch.
Yeah, I mean Skeens is great, but there's not a whole lot on that club that says, Skeens is going to have a better opportunity of getting wins than Logan Gilbert,
Yeah,
He could run into that same situation.
I was kind of debating on whether or not to put the Cardinals lower as well, just because of how many older guys they got on that team too. So
Well, I'm still hearing rumblings that they may trade Arenado, but the
yeah,
Cardinals are definitely in a full-on rebuild.
yeah, yeah,
But I think they're a little further along. I just have more faith in the Cardinals than the Pirates, but I just don't. I don't think the Pirates have done enough to really raise themselves out of the cellar, even though they have Skeens now.
yeah.
I also worry about Skeens holding up over the entirety of the season versus him being kind of groomed in the beginning of April, kind of like this his spring training.
Yeah, that will be interesting to see as well because I still think that he would probably be best used as your like high leverage reliever guy, but I'm also not a GM of a baseball team, so
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about the AL Central now. And let's see. What do you think, Shane, about the AL Central?
dude, this one, other than the White Sox, which are just a hot garbage dumpster fire in Chicago.
Yeah.
I think this one is also good. I mean, this one feels even closer to me than the NL Central. So someone's got to be at the top, and I got the Guardians at the top. So I think they'll play well in that division this year. I wanted to put the Royals second, but I'm a believer in the Tigers, especially after that wild run in the playoffs last year. So I got Tigers second, Royals third, and then the Twinkies above the White Sox.
Well, the only two that we really agree on are the Twins and the White Sox. We both have them at the bottom. The Twins
Perfect.
have about done as much as the Mariners have done in terms of signing free agents and stuff. I mean, they signed your boy Ty France for $1 million to be their starting first baseman.
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't just pick them back up again, honestly. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
Ty
mean,
France is better than Rowdy Tellez, so
you're only gonna have to pay him you're probably gonna have to pay Rowdy Tellez more than you'd probably have to pay Ty France, honestly. But
well, he's only signed to a minor league deal, so maybe
well, yeah, but
not.
some of these minor league deals though have terms in them where if they make the team, they get an X amount of money.
Yeah, I'm
It
sure
might be
they
one of
invited them.
those.
I'm sure the reason why they invited him to spring training too was to be like, well, Rowdy, how fat are you this year?
Well, a lot of times they'll have like they'll sign a minor league deal with the team and be like, "Hey, you'll get 2 million or something if you make the team." It's usually something like that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I'm gonna look and see if there's anything related to that. I don't see anything listed there, but it wouldn't shock me if he made more than the league minimum if he made the team.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So for me, I have the Royals making the winning the division this year. I
Okay.
I think they've got a very good squad there, and I just think there's just some variability from year to year on these things. Not everything rolls out the same way that it does the previous year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the Jonathan India pickup for them,
Yeah. I forgot that he got traded from the Reds. So.
and they have kept their pitching pretty much intact. They even they kind of extended Cole Reagans a little bit. They bought out one of his team control years and then gave him like two of his arbitration years. So he's going to be getting
Okay.
$13.5 million, which sounds incredibly low when you look at the numbers, but
Yeah.
he's a guy who's had two Tommy John surgeries, or well,
Yeah.
sometimes they say one and a half Tommy John surgeries because like one was to clean up some of the work that was in the previous surgery. So
Gotcha.
he's had a damaged elbow as the big point. So him probably taking that money is like, yeah, I want that money.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and he's definitely gone out and earned it for himself. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, if
Yeah.
he was a free agent, he'd be making 25 to 30, at
Yeah.
least on a
I think
1 year
so.
deal, something similar to what Jack Flaherty signed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have
Absolutely.
I have the Guardians behind the Royals.
Okay.
I have the Tigers behind them. And
Okay.
this is another one of those divisions where you could easily see it coming down to, 2 or 3 games in September.
Well, that's that it did last year. So it's like it
Did
seemed like the
last year.
Twins the Twins were just gonna easily coast in there, and the Tigers were like, "Oh, we're not done yet." So,
Yeah, my concern about the Tigers is I just don't know they're going to score enough runs. That
yeah.
offense is just not very good. The
Well,
Royals,
and they play in one of the largest parks in America too. So
yeah, their ballpark is not conducive to their team, and I just don't think they've done enough with the bats. I know they signed Gleyber Torres, but I don't think he's going to do very well there,
yeah,
and I'm not sure that what to expect out of Spencer Torkelson if he's going to bounce back.
yeah.
He fell off so hard they had to demote him to AAA.
Oh, geez, really?
Yeah, he fell off a cliff. So
Yeah, no kidding.
and I just wonder if Scuba will be able to duplicate his performance from last year, being like the best pitcher in the American League.
Yeah.
I just see some regression, and I don't get the feeling that every team that makes the playoffs the previous year is going to make the playoffs the following year. I just
Yeah, I
don't
guess I
much
kind of gave
believe in
that
that.
impression, but I still believe, though. I still believe.
I still think the Tigers are a pretty good team.
Yeah,
I just struggle to think about how they're going to score enough runs, and I just don't think the Guardians have fallen off enough, or the Royals have fallen off enough to like take them from the top. I still think they're the two best teams in the division, and you can kind
yeah.
of flip flop here and there based on that. But
Yeah,
Twins
yeah.
and the
I mean,
White
you're
Sox are.
convincing me that you're right, but I'm still going to stick with the Tigers in second. So,
And the thing is, I still believe that the reason this division was so close last year was because of how bad the White Sox were.
yeah, and there it
And
looks like they're going to be that bad again.
yeah,
So,
but the weird thing about baseball is that like how often is a team gonna just lose 120 games a year?
yeah,
Like it's as hard
not
to
very.
lose 120 as it is to win 120.
Yeah, yeah,
Even as bad as they are, like they could win 50 games. They could win like 10 more games and
yeah,
still just because of dumb baseball randomness.
yeah. That's true.
So I'm not 100% sure how it's gonna roll out, but I don't have high hopes for the Twins. They just have kind of stopped spending money.
I
That's
know how
my
that
feeling
feels.
there.
So, we stopped spending money a long time ago.
Oh, just wait till your pitchers reach arbitration and then they start costing money.
Oh, I'm debating on whether or not to on my first game, hold up a sign that says "Learn from Felix Hernandez. Ask for a trade."
Oh, that's cold.
I kind of really want to, but we'll see.
Oh, and we forgot to mention this when we were talking about the Cubs, but Justin Turner signed a 1 year deal for $6 million to basically kind of be I'm guessing a utility player. I don't think he's going to be starting for them. Probably platoon bat.
Yeah, I'll probably do what he did on the Mariners last year, play a little first base and hit against what is he bats right, so hit against lefties.
Yeah, I mean he's got. I know that there's some injured players. I think Shaw is a little dinged up, and so is Nico Horner.
Okay. Yeah, he can
So
really play anywhere. I mean, his defense was good on the Mariners, so I was kind of hoping that the Mariners would bring him back, but obviously we don't believe in having talent on our team, so.
oh yeah, yeah. All right. Well, do you have any closing remarks?
Yes. So speaking of errors,
Yes, yes. We gotta circle back to our conversation last week.
yeah, the most amount of errors committed in one season, two people tied for it in back-to-back years in 1889 and 1890. Billy Schindel and Herman Long each committed 122 errors in one season.
Wait,
I
wait,
think
wait.
there's a
122 errors?
Yeah, that's like, and back then that's almost like one a game. I feel like they only played like 135 games or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
they both played shortstop, but still, I mean, that's a lot.
And
So,
I'm sorry, when did you say this happened?
1890 and 1889.
Wow. I guess they didn't really have as good equipment back then.
Yeah,
I can't imagine what a glove would have been like in 1890.
yeah. And Herman Long, he is the all-time leader in career errors with 1,096.
You gotta feel like some of that's on the equipment. Like if
Yeah,
you,
I mean, absolutely, but
he's probably feeling grounders at that point, like barehanded.
honestly, probably. But here's one for you.
Yeah.
In 1962, the Mets as a team committed 210 errors, the most by any club in the expansion era.
When did the Mets like begin? Wasn't that like a year or two after they started?
Yeah, so I think 1961, right? And then the next year as a team, they committed 210 errors.
I'm gonna just Google make sure that when they started. So yeah, they
Yeah,
were
yeah.
established in 1962. So you said
Okay.
1962 Mets?
Yeah, 1962. So their
So
first
that would have
year.
been the first year that they were in existence. They they set the modern day, we'll call it the modern day record for errors.
Yeah. By a team in one season with over one a game.
Do you want to know what their record was in 1962? Because I'm Googling it now here.
Oh yeah, what was it?
40 and 120.
Nice. That checks out. So I feel like a
So
couple of those errors probably led to runs here and there. So
yeah, yeah. So somehow the White Sox managed to be worse than them.
yeah.
Worse than an expansion team.
I wonder how many errors the White Sox committed last year. That would be interesting. Not 210. So
No, I could probably find that here
yeah,
because
I'm curious.
that's just last year or so.
Yeah, yeah, should be at the top.
Chicago White Sox committed 90 errors last
Hmm,
year,
okay, so
which isn't that bad.
yeah.
Do you want to guess which American League team had the most errors last year?
It's got to be the Red Sox, right? Devers leading the
Ding,
charge.
ding, 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 ding.
I feel like Rafael Devers committed 90 errors himself last year.
The Red Sox committed 115 errors last year.
Oh man, that's bad. How much? I bet the M's is below 50. How many errors did the M's commit last year?
The Mariners committed 79 errors.
Oof. Okay. Well, that's a lot
The
for.
Red Sox were the only team in the American League to have More than 100 errors.
Honestly, that doesn't. And what is Rafi Devers was like? What, 40 of them, 30 of them, probably something like that.
And only the Miami Marlins had more errors as a team with 117. The
Nice.
Nationals, of course, had 109. So they're the only three teams, the Marlins, the Nationals, and the Red Sox, to have over 100 errors as a team.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yep. The league average was about 87.
Oh, okay.
So significantly, so about average defensively for the White Sox.
Yeah.
I imagine that's probably going to get worse. I don't know what they're gonna do with Luis Robert, but he's got to get himself out of there. They got to move him at some point.
Seriously.
And on that note, we're gonna close the show for the week. What do you want to hit next week, Shane? You want to do the East divisions or the West divisions next week?
Let's do the West because oh man, it's hard. Yeah, let's just do the West. I stick with the West.
All right, the West Coast is the best coast. That's what we're going to be hitting next week on the show. So a lot of Dodgers talk and a lot of cuddling on the couch with Shane about the Mariners and
Yep.
where they're going to project out. How many home
Spoiler
runs do you think
alert,
Rowdy
the
Tellez is going to hit
Athletics
this
are going to
year?
be ahead of them. So
How many home runs do you think Rowdy Tellez is going to hit this year?
I knew. So okay.
Well, we'll save
Don't
that for
even-
next week. I want to save that
yeah,
question for next
don't
week.
even get me started on Rowdy Tellez. So
All right. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week.
bye now.